Your bug out bag is probably wrong. It's not that you didn't put effort into it. It's not that you didn't research it. It's not that you didn't take the whole situation seriously, but it's really because almost everyone that's building a bug out bag, a get home bag, a bag of some kind are making these same mistakes that we're going to talk about today. I've been doing this for over 25 years. I've built bags, I've rebuilt bags, I've built bags for different purposes, for different size trips, for different situations. And really, I've made many of these same mistakes myself, and that's why we're going to talk about them today. And this is me telling you what I wish somebody would have told me back when I started all of this. The thing about bug out bag mistakes is that you don't know that you made a mistake in your bug out until the moment you actually need the bag. And that moment is the absolute worst possible time for you to figure out that you've done the wrong thing, that you brought the wrong gear, or you forgot some critical gear that you did actually need. So let's go through these 9 common mistakes right now that will hopefully help you be better with your bug out bags, your get home bags, or whatever other types of bags that you're preparing for. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the One Road. Today, we're diving into the 9 mistakes that people commonly make in their bug out bags. And again, I'm not coming to this from the position that here's some things that I've heard before. These are things that I'm dealing with currently in my bug out bags or in my get home bags, things that I've had to deal with in rebuilding my kits and everything else. So if you do end up finding this video helpful to you and your family, please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's do this. Now, the first one is buying low quality pre-built kits. When I very first got into prepping, one of the things that I did was buy some of these, this was way before Amazon was even a thing, right? But I went to, there was a store that I was familiar with and they sold some pre-built kits. Sometimes you see them at Walmart now, or even on Amazon for $50. You can buy a bug out bag, right? And the thing is they are potentially useful. There's some stuff in there that's useful. It's a collection of things in a bag. The thing is that those pre-built kits, they generally contain a lot of really kind of low quality items, and they either aren't going to necessarily work well for you or work well at all. I do like to buy budget gear, right? And I talk about cheap alternatives commonly on this channel. But certain things I don't think you want to skimp on. For example, with a tourniquet. If you are actually cranking down on a tourniquet during an actual medical situation, and that tourniquet just falls apart because it is a knockoff, it's a cheap build with low quality control, that's the absolute worst time to find out that that was the wrong place to cut in the budget. A water filter, anything that's like actually a core piece of equipment, you want to have good gear. And when you buy these pre-built kits, generally, and maybe there's some high-end exceptions, but if you just go on Amazon and search bug out bag and you buy it, generally it's going to be a collection of crap. All right, the second common mistake is following someone else's gear list. And this is funny coming from a YouTuber, a YouTube person, or somebody making content on YouTube who's commonly going to be putting out, I've recommendations of what goes in bags. I've shown you what goes in my bags. But the reality is, whether it's me or anybody else, we don't know your particular situation. I can give general recommendations of things you want. You want to consider. I can give recommendations for, here's specific pieces of gear that are better quality than others or great budget buys or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's your scenario, it's your life, it's your family. You have a different fitness level than me. You have a different route you're going to take. You have a different family composition, a different threat environment, whatever it is. And you want to make sure that your bug out bag is optimized for your situation. So whether it's my gear list, my bug out list, my get home bag list, my everyday carry list, whatever it is, adapt that to you. Take what I'm saying, take the reasoning potentially, and then apply it to your specific situation. Again, sometimes those lists will have things that you don't need, and sometimes those lists will not have things on there that you will need. So make sure to put a little bit of thought into it above just listening to somebody you see on YouTube. And the third thing is not planning for the people that are actually going to be with you in the situation you're preparing for, whether it's a bug out bag, get home bag, whatever it is. If you're a father, you've got 2 children and a wife, then if you are planning a bug out bag, then you need to consider that they're going to be with you, because in reality, you're not going to leave without them. So do you have enough prep gear, enough food, enough water for all of them in your bag, and you're going to mule it for everybody. Well, if so, great, good for you. I would question if that's actually enough stuff for everybody. Then the second question I would have is, why don't they carry some of their own gear, create multiple kits for each person based on what they're capable of carrying, based on their age and physical fitness and et cetera, and spread the load and make sure they actually get enough, because you've got to consider calorie intake, water requirements, medical needs, physical capabilities, the pace, how far you're going to be going in a bug out situation, or if it's a get home situation. Children generally cannot carry that much load. And even if they can carry it for a little while, it becomes very much emotionally a situation that's challenging for them. If you're dealing with elderly people in your family and you're having to deal with them, their medications, their physical constraints, you got to think about that. Me and my house, we've got pets. We've got 2 dogs. And I can tell you this, my wife is not going to leave the house without those dogs. And if we're in a situation where we don't think we're coming back. And so I've got to make sure that we have a plan for them as well. If you actually put some effort into it, you can plan what you need in your kit plus what people can potentially carry in their kits. You want to have some redundancy of equipment, but you don't have to have every single person have the exact same kit, right? So you put some thought into it, plan out what you as a group, a team, a family are going to need. The fourth mistake that I fall victim to all the time is making my pack too heavy. I'm a kitchen sink hiker. When I go out, I always want to plan for every contingency as opposed to the bare minimum, right? And the real answer isn't one or the other. It's somewhere in between. Generally, the guideline is to keep your pack at about 20 to 25% of your body weight for sustained movement. Now, the military will go up to 30, 35%, but they're extremely physically fit, right? This is what they do for a living, is haul heavy packs. So if that's not you, then try to make sure you limit the weight of your pack to around 20, 25% of your body weight. And again, you want to make sure that you're prioritizing the things into your pack that are life-sustaining first, right? Food, water filtration, potentially fire making, warmth. You got to make that priority list, and then some things are going to get cut off, and you're not going to take it. Right now, I'm rebuilding my bug out bag, actually, which is why I had the idea for the video. And one of the things that I had on my list, because it's on everybody's list all the time, is a signal mirror. I'm never going to use a signal mirror. I'm just not. I've been carrying one every backpacking trips for years, for hiking for years. I've never used it one time. And I know it's an emergency thing, and I get it, okay? But at the end of the day, if I'm bugging out, I don't need a signal mirror. But that's just an example, right? You have to figure out what's just not realistic for you and adapt it to what your situation is. Now, the third mistake that I commonly see is people not integrating pieces of their kit together. And that's why I'm rebuilding my kit right now, is because I have a belt, which is like my pistol belt, backup pistol magazines, got my multi-tool flashlight, first aid, a little first aid, attachment on the back, a little molly thing on the back for my trauma kit. And I have a chest rig, right? And then I have a backpack. And I want to make sure that all 3 of those systems, plus whatever might be in my pockets or on my person, watch, whatever, it works together. And I do want to have some redundancy, but I don't want to be complete. I don't need a multi-tool on my belt and a multi-tool in my backpack, right? One multi-tool is probably sufficient. So the pistol belt gives me basic self-defense, and it gives me a chance to get to my chest rig and potentially my rifle, right? And then the chest rig helps me fight. And then the bag helps sustain me. And using the 3 systems and kind of breaking things apart into where they go, that really kind of gives you, it prevents you from any kind of significant vulnerability, and having also a terrible amount of redundancy that you don't necessarily want. Number 6 is adding things last minute. So I have a great pair, for example, of Sorden Ear Pro, right, for shooting. Super nice, super expensive, but that's what I wear to the range every time I go. And I don't want it stuck with my bug out bag, where my bug out bag goes, because I want it more easily accessible for when I go shooting. So that doesn't always sit in the same place. Am I in the moment when I have to bug out? Am I going to remember to grab my Sordens from my shooting bag? Or do I need to buy a backup pro, whether it be another pair of Sorens or just a cheap pair of Walkers or Howard Lights or something, to go with my bug out kit, so I know that I've got ear pro with me when if and when I ever had to bug out. But there's a lot of things that you need to consider that you might want to grab last minute. Like maybe it's winter and you didn't pre-stage your or update your bug out bag or your get home bag for winter, right? So the lot you want to grab last minute, you're going to grab a jacket, you're going to want to grab some extra layers, you're going right in that last minute, you're going to throw that in. Maybe it's medications or extra chargers or important documents or whatever it is. There are ways to prep that, right? Like maybe you have a checklist. Grab your ear pro, your specialized ear pro, or grab this pistol out of the safe. And those checklists are great to have, but you want to account for that in your planning. And so don't think that in the moment you're going to remember to grab that last minute item. So either create the checklist or create the redundancy in your bag so that you have what you normally use plus what's going to be actually in your kit. Number 7 is not having some emergency or scenario specific items. Now, I have a bug out bags, right? For me and I'm rebuilding mine and my wife's, but I got my bug out bags for my kids all set up, right? But in reality, there are certain situations where we may grab certain things that for certain situations, and we want to make sure those are available to us, right? And I'm talking about stuff that wouldn't necessarily go into your bug out bag, but you do kind of want to have them available in case of specific threat scenarios, right? So in case of like a nuclear, chemical, biological, radiological kind of attack of some kind, you want to have a gas mask for each member of your family. And that's not going to say that lives in your bug out bag, but it is kind of a specific thing that when you want it and you need it, you really need it. And again, gas mask, iodine tablets, radiation detectors, specific cold weather gear. So I know I just said in the last one, be cautious about stuff that you have to grab last minute, right? But sometimes those things don't necessarily fit in every version of your bug out kit, and they don't need to live in your bug out kit because it's only a very, very small set of very scenario specific issues where you would want to pull those things in. So just keep that in mind, that you do want, you want to make sure that you have accounted for last minute items, but you do in certain cases, that's the only way you're going to do it, is pull in those scenario specific items. The number 8 mistake is building your kit and then never updating it. I know your Mountain House meals are good for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it is these days. But your snacks may not be. The coffee, the instant coffee or whatever it is, the snack bars you have, they may only be good for a couple of years. So food expires. You got to make sure your water is stored in bags that don't degrade. If you put medications in there in your first aid kit, painkillers and stuff, they do expire after a while. You check your batteries. I know I've had numerous AA Duracells that have just melted my electronics over the years. So swap out batteries, freshen this whole system up if you need to, check it on a yearly basis. Just make sure that you don't let it sit forever. The number 9 mistake that I see is never wearing and carrying your bug out kit. And I say kit, not just bag, because again, if you, like in my situation, I have I've got my belt and I've got my chest rig and I've got my backpack. I want to make sure I can wear all of those comfortably and get on the treadmill, right? Put my rifle on with it and completely kit out, get on the treadmill, go for a walk through the yard, go on a hike, whatever you have to do to test it out and make sure the system can work together and that you can carry it. Now, even better is actually spending the night outside with your kit, right? You're going to learn more in that one night of surviving through out of your bag than any YouTube video or any thought experiment that you will ever do. So part of what I'm doing in this new rebuild I'm doing is I have certain items that I have marked that are potentially going to go on my belt or potentially going to be going on my chest rig or potentially going on my chest rig or maybe in my bug out bag. And I'm not exactly sure where they go. So part of me rebuilding this kit and making sure all of this integrates well together is getting them where they need to go, putting it all on, getting on the treadmill, making sure it all fits, into the carriers that I have, getting on the treadmill or out in the woods, whatever it might be, and trying to figure out if it actually still makes sense. Does it fit right? Practicing with your actual gear, whether it be water filters, shelter systems, quick access if you have to defend you and your family, quick access to firearms and reloading and all those types of things. It helps you discover and know what you need to use and how you're going to use that before the emergency situation. Now, I am not coming to you in this video from a place of perfection. As I've talked about throughout this video, I'm in the midst of doing better. And so I'm coming to you with it because hopefully this will help you and your families be better prepared for whatever the world's going to throw at you, because that's the mission of the channel. And if even just one or two of these things resonate with you, make some changes to your kits, whether they be get home bags, bug out bags, apply it to all of those types of things where it's going to help you essentially be better prepared. So anyway, if you found this helpful, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll see you next time.